What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. I hope you're having an amazing day. Today's video we're going to be taking a look at this beautiful Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. Like, I've been rolling over this phone like almost for the time that I have it, and you can look at that massive camera bump right over there. Well, it packs some serious power right over there, but I haven't been actually seeing a lot of camera reviews right over here on the YouTube. But I think Samsung is holding back the demo units that they have sent to the YouTubers, but I have got my personally. So right over here, you can just look at the camera app. It's pretty much the same experience that you have been getting from the One UI 1, but there are far more tweaks to the algorithms and everything that has been done to this 108 MP sensor. Like, it is a massive sensor, and even with the low light, it works far more better than what I have actually seen with the Galaxy S20 Ultra, because I've never seen the phone in hand personally. But if you just go to the settings up over here, pretty much everything is just the same, the scene optimizer, show suggestions, QR code scanner. But if you have just never used the Samsung camera app, it did actually have an Instagram mode, which I really miss. So again, if you just go over here, swipe center to the edge, now you can create a GIF or take a burst shot, which was actually available before. Now if you just hold over here, it really takes a very high quality HDR 4:3 stabilized video. So you can just make your quick Instagram stories right over there, or just swipe to the bottom for burst shots or GIFs. So that's again really great that they have actually chopped down some features, but they have somehow implemented it. You have same options for compressed photo, raw, or just wide shape correction. And then again, we have video size. Now this is something I am really disappointed. It is a very powerful phone. Like, the things Exynos 990 has bandwidth issues with is the Quad HD 120Hz, and this thing. The 60 FPS can't handle switching between multiple lenses. Well, it can actually handle switching between front and the rear camera. Like, you can just switch between all the lenses or even with the front camera while recording, but 60 FPS, nah. 1080p, 4K is just can't. So again, if you just go to the resolution, so you still have wide 8K or just your normal 16:9, which is really great, but at 24 FPS, it's really crappy. I hope Samsung comes out with some kind of upscaling to 30 FPS, because it's really jittery, and without a tripod, it's a mess. So again, scrolling down, you have front video size again at 4K 60 FPS. It's really good. You have pro video size, which again can be done with 16:9 or 21:9 wide aspect. So that's really great. You have video stabilization. Again, the algorithms help right over here. It tracks the object for stabilization rather than stabilizing the image. That's really great, because if you are just taking close up of some of the things with zoomed in, it really helps on just tracking them. So you have advanced video record options for HDR, zoom in mic, which has been also available on some of the Pixel phones now, or just high efficiency video. But again, this thing comes with the base model of 256 gigs. You have auto HDR, which is still a mess right over here. Like, there are still many of the scenarios while my S10 performs better with always on HDR, but with its higher megapixel cameras, Samsung has just completely disabled it. Again, you have the selfie tone just like the Galaxy S20 for warm or cool, which again is a really brilliant option, to be honest. It has been bugging me a lot whenever I stand against a very warm object. But yeah, this camera app can actually turn any kind of noob into a pro in terms of taking pics with its suggestions. So again, you have tracking autofocus, pictures as previewed, location tags, shooting methods. So again, you can show a palm, voice control, or just use your S Pen to just click pictures. So that's again amazing. You have touch vibrations, like the haptic feedback in this phone is really amazing. Something I didn't talk in my review, but you have settings to keep. So again, it remembers some of the filters, selfie angles, or the camera modes that you left in, but it doesn't really help in that. So for example, I really preferred just having the default mode in wide angle, because if I just whip out my phone, I want my maximum coverage of the image of whatever is happening. But if I just completely leave the app, it doesn't resume back in wide angle. Yep. So again, just going through the modes, you still have the single take, again night mode, photo mode, which again shifts between 7 seconds to 20 seconds depending if you're on a tripod. But the laser focus over here is quite disappointing that the hardware is gone, but the laser focus is just amazing. It has never lost the shot. Whenever I have tried to do something, like I was trying to take this picture of my baby RC right over there, and my Galaxy S10 just completely missed the shot. They both had 20 seconds of shutter speed for the night mode, but the focusing over here with the laser focus has been just far more better than just not completely having all the ToF sensors on the Galaxy S20. But I really do miss the ToF sensors, which really helped in the AR core experience, but they are just now completely gone. And even with the laser focus, focusing on the smallest objects like this little flower is just a breeze. Like, you can look at that amazing bokeh from that massive 108 MP sensor, and it's just amazing. But just going through more stuff, you have motion photo just like a Pixel, you have your aspect ratios, which also has a 108MP mode, and the 108MP mode still has kind of a delay. I don't know whether it is same on the Snapdragon 865 Plus variant, but with the help of algorithms, Samsung has finally minimized the gap between the 12MP and this thing's HDR difference. So over here, again very harsh lighting right over there, and we'll just completely switch it to 12MP. Again, the shutter speed is just not that brilliant when compared to iPhones, but again, as you can see, the processing is just pretty much the same. Like you can look at the dark parts, there are pretty much same detail on both of them. So again, just a great job right over there. If you just go to, again, video, pretty much the same features that you used to get on the Galaxy S20. You have the super steady mode, which is really super steady. Again, with the wide angle, the video quality has gone up really good when compared to something like from last year. Then again, you have normal video modes like face, my filters, normal things, nothing new in that. You have AR drawing. Again, thanks to S Pen, it's a far more better experience, but again, nothing newer than the Galaxy S20. You have live focus video, which again benefits from the laser focusing, but the masking around the objects is not as good as the S20, thanks to not having the TOF sensor. Or if you just go to more, there are no new features. There are just your normal tips: Bixby Vision, AR Zone, Pro Video, Pro Photos, Live Focus. So yeah, you get the point. So just directly coming down to the samples, had a very harsh lighting conditions as it's a monsoon season right now, but the HDR is just far more better in terms of processing when compared to the Galaxy S20 Plus, which I had few months back. And then I just can't express how the laser focusing is just far more better than the previous versions of focusing methods. But again, the lag between switching the lenses is far more better than the Galaxy S20 Plus. Like there is far more lesser hiccup when switching to the wide angle lens, which again on iPhones just doesn't exist, and on Androids it's pretty much noticeable in most of the phones. But even for the Exynos variant of this thing, there is just a bit of a lag, at least in video recording, and from going to the primary to telephoto lens is just a breeze. You can actually notice a bit of a focus shift, as the telephoto lens does actually tend to have very good bokeh, again just being a massive sensor. But yeah, that's just one of the complaints. Again, with the gallery and stuff, features are just pretty much the same. You get same style of editing of 8K or 4K videos. There are nothing like, you can't still speed up your footages, which is really weird. Like you can just invert it, which is newer from my Galaxy S10. There is just 2x speed. You can't actually adjust it to your liking. You can just draw on it. Like the video editing and everything is just pretty much plain simple. Again, the S Pen features are nothing different than what you get on the Galaxy Note 9. Like if you just take it out, you can click it for quick picture. Again, there is like a 1 second delay, even though this is a much faster phone than compared to the Note 9. And yeah guys, that's pretty much it for the quick Galaxy Note 20 Ultra camera review. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want a 8K video sample, it would be linked in the description. And again, see you guys in the next one. Peace.